Have you ever asked yourself, how did the concept of democracy interact with the British Empire, a symbol of monarchical power? Let's travel back in time and unravel the story of the British Empire, a story of power, expansion, and influence. Picture an empire where the sun never sets, an empire that, at the height of its power, spread across continents, commanding over a quarter of the world's land and population. The British Empire's rise to power was no overnight feat. It was a journey that spanned centuries, marked by exploration, colonization, and a series of wars. The empire's global reach was unparalleled, its influence seeping into the cultural, economic, and political fabrics of the colonized regions. Central to the empire's governance was the British monarch, a symbol of power and unity. Yet the monarch was not an absolute ruler. Their powers were checked by the British Parliament, an institution that evolved over time, embodying the principles of democracy, representation, and rule of law. The empire was not a singular, monolithic entity. It was a complex network of self-governing colonies, protectorates, and dominions. Each had its unique dynamics and relationship with the mother country, Britain. Some were directly ruled by Britain, others enjoyed a degree of autonomy, but all were part of the grand narrative of the British Empire. The story of the empire is not complete without acknowledging the process of decolonization. Post the Second World War, the empire began to dismantle. Countries won their freedom, one after another, in a wave of nationalistic movements that reshaped the world map. This decolonization process was not merely a geographical shift, it was a political transition, a change in governance systems. The colonies, now independent nations, were looking for a political model to adopt, a model that could cater to their diverse societies and nascent nationhood. With such a vast empire, Britain inevitably influenced the political systems of its colonies, which brings us to the heart of our discussion: democracy. Democracy, as we know it today, did not appear overnight. It is the result of centuries of evolution and adaptation. Let's take a step back to ancient Greece, where democracy was born. The city-state of Athens, around the 5th century BC, was the first to introduce this system of governance, where the power of decision-making was vested in the hands of the citizens. A radical idea for its time, the Athenian democracy was direct, meaning all citizens could vote on laws and policies. Fast forward to the 17th century, the idea of democracy underwent significant changes. The Age of Enlightenment saw philosophers like John Locke and Jean-Jacques Rousseau advocating for the concept of a social contract and the rights of the individual. These ideas laid the foundation for modern democratic principles. Now, let's turn our attention to the British Empire, which played a crucial role in spreading these democratic ideals globally. The empire, at its height, ruled over a quarter of the world's population. It introduced democratic institutions and systems of governance in its colonies, even though it often met with resistance. Take India, for example. The British introduced a parliamentary system of governance which laid the groundwork for the world's largest democracy. Or consider the United States, where the principles of democracy were adapted to create a unique form of representative government, influenced greatly by British political traditions. However, it's crucial to remember that the path to democracy was not always smooth. In many colonies, it was a struggle against oppression and a fight for self-determination. The democratic ideals often clashed with the realities of colonial rule, leading to movements for independence and self-governance. As we trace the evolution of democracy, we see that it's not a one-size-fits-all concept. Each society, each culture, has molded and shaped it to align with their unique circumstances and values. Democracy, a Greek invention, has been molded and shaped by various cultures and societies over centuries, including the British Empire. The story of democracy is therefore a story of adaptation, evolution, and the unending quest for a more equitable and just society. The British Empire's complex relationship with democracy has left an indelible mark on the world. From the shores of Australia to the plains of India, the British Empire's influence can be seen in the democratic institutions that now stand in these former colonies. Remember the Magna Carta, the Great Charter of Liberties, which we discussed in the previous scenes? This cornerstone of British democracy became a reference point for many nations seeking to establish their own democratic systems. The British Empire, in its vast expanse, disseminated democratic ideas, albeit often indirectly. However, it's crucial to note that the empire's legacy is not solely positive. The process of decolonization often left power vacuums and political instability in its wake. Yet, in many cases, the democratic seeds sown by the British Empire took root and flourished. The British Empire may have faded into history, but its influence on democracy continues to shape the world we live in.